Madam Chair, I'm Nathaniel M. Olson, a disability advocate for the state of Minnesota. I've heard the commissioners and the Department of Human Services, but the one thing that I'm freaking worried about is this freaking fraud that is happening over our state, where there's 600,000 disability people in the state of Minnesota that could suffer. And sadly, it's quite interesting that we have Governor Walz speaking in front of the state and saying that this fraud is nothing but the side. But my people are done suffering. We're done with this fraud. We're done with the Department of Human Services coming up here and saying, oh, we're going to figure this out. This has been too long. The administration knew that this fraud was coming. I've talked to families, parents, everyone have been reaching out to me and saying, oh, this is what is happening to my child. This is what is happening to my child. We're afraid. We need to put aside these differences, and we need to come together and put a stop to this fraud. Our governor is not doing anything to help us, but sit here and decide he wants to blame Donald J., the President of the United States, who has nothing to do with this. There is a time to hold our governor accountable, and I'm not seeing it. This fraud is outrageous. And I'm very scared for my little brother if he goes into ICS home. But right now he's home with my parents, and he's going to stay there because I'm going to keep fighting for these disability people, because none of them are right here, and I am their voice. It is time for us to say enough is enough. I'm done. And it makes me sad to see what's happening to our state. This was a great state. It was. But all of this fraud that is coming around here, all these excuses that is happening, needs to stop. Minnesota needs to become a great state again. Thank you, and thank you guys for your guys' hard work.
All right, folks, we have so much to talk about. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all. As you watch this broadcast, it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ, and as you can see, there's more of us tonight. All right, so we got to introduce everybody. First off, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, everybody.
Shelly E. All right, and you can see we have some extra special guests tonight. Our special guest co-host tonight joining us. I want you ladies to each introduce yourselves, starting out with Blanca. Blanca's right here in Maryland. Please shout out where people can find you, Blanca. Anything you want to share with the audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Blanca. I'm glad to be here. I'm not really on social media too much. Facebook is the only channel or the only handle at this point.
All right. That is quite all right, because you are a strong advocate in the community here in Baltimore, a strong conservative advocate and education advocate. So we love you and thank you for joining us. Also back tonight is Crystal Beyond Labels. How are you tonight, Crystal? Please shout out where people can find you also.
Hi, everyone. Hi, KJ. Thanks for having me back. I'm Crystal with Crystal Beyond Labels. My podcast is here on YouTube. I go live Monday through Thursday, usually during the season. But since we're on a little holiday break, I'll be back on January 5th. But usually it's 8 p.m. on Mondays through Thursdays.
Excellent. Excellent. Welcome again and glad to have you back. All right. And for the first time tonight, we got to give so happy to have you on here. Linda B also has a YouTube channel here. Please shout out your YouTube channel. Anything else you'd like the audience to know, Linda?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. I mean, I am truly honored. I followed you guys and I am just great admirers. I was so happy to see you over the weekend. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, very thankful. And you all can find me. I am on YouTube, Chat With Me, Linda B, right here on YouTube. And I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as Chat With Me, Linda B.
Excellent. Yes, indeed, folks. And Linda, we actually met Linda this weekend at Amfest, TPUSA's Amfest. And I said, we got to get Linda on here. She is fiery just like us and conservative. And so definitely had to get you on with us. And I'm so happy you could join us tonight. All right. So, as I said, we have a great show lined up for everyone. As you all know, we are live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. As you all saw at the top of the show, that was a gentleman in Minnesota. He is representing, I believe he was a disability advocate. So he was there representing, his name is Nathaniel Olson. And he was basically unleashing on Tim Walz. As you know, we've been talking about this fraud going on in Minnesota, and he let him have it. So according to Town Hall, fraud tourism aggravated the $1 billion Somali fraud problem in Minnesota, prosecutors said. U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson said he believes that half or more of the $18 billion with a B that the state spent across 14 programs was likely fraudulent. Criminals stole $14 million from a program meant to help kids with autism and used it to buy property in Kenya. All right. Another organized group of criminals stole $250 million from a program meant to feed hungry kids. More than 70 people have been charged with stealing from that program. Minnesotans and lawmakers have slammed Governor Tim Walz for not stopping rampant fraud. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Kelly. We've talked about this before, but that judge who is disabled and he represents disabled people is upset. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. And more people in Minneapolis or Mogadishu-opolis should be upset. Look, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Not only is this just the tip of the iceberg, Minneapolis, Minnesota is just one of many states where corruption is rampant. And I'll tell you something else. If you can count how much fraud it is, it's double or triple that. That's only counting the very basics of it. So know this, stop the NGOs, stop the fraud, give us our money back, and then incarcerate Tim Walz.
Yeah. Nicole, I mean, the leadership in Minnesota is acting like this isn't a big deal. You had, I believe it was a prosecutor who was talking about it today. Town Hall was reporting on it, saying that, you know, they're acting like this is not a big story. They're going to take care of it and they want to move on. And they're also trying to push a narrative that this is not a Somali story. What are your thoughts there?
Well, they're trying to push it under the rug. It's what Democrats do. It's what they've been successful at doing. You hear about these prosecutions and people getting sentenced to meager jail time. But what you don't hear about is the money coming back. What you don't hear about is the forced sale of the vacation homes in Kenya, the luxury cars, the other homes that they have in neighboring states where they're running scams of home health care and daycare centers. You're not hearing any of that. Listen, Tim Walz and his ilk bought the votes. That's what they did. And they're going to continue to buy the votes. It doesn't really matter how bad the press is. What you're seeing out of Minnesota is these elected officials saying, okay, you caught us, but we're not going to stop. No one's gotten any real jail time yet. Tim Walz is used to being dragged. I mean, he lied to the entire world on live national television. This is not new for him. Embarrassing or not, they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah. I want to get you other ladies involved on this, but before we do, check out this next clip where Nick Shirley, he is a YouTuber in Minnesota, showing just how deep this fraud goes. This is clip 4.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday, and if you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working. Midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing, and like I said, they literally spelt the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota. The government is complicit with this, and this is just one of the hundreds of child daycare centers here inside of Minneapolis being ran by the Somali population. It's sad that it's happening here in Minnesota, and it stinks that it's happening and it's being labeled on the Somali population. However, that's just the facts of what's happening here inside of Minnesota. $1.9 million for this daycare center that can't even spell learning right.
Wow. All right. Linda, so we don't live in Minnesota, but why should this matter to us here?
Because it can happen in our state. One thing I've noticed about Democrats is that they are just, in my opinion, just a money laundering operation. They have a history of coming up with great names for different programs, whether it's Feed the Children, whether it's anything, BLM, no matter what you want to call it, any autism program. But what it really is ends up being like a money laundering operation. They always do this every single time at the expense of the taxpayer. So as a taxpayer, we can't look at it just like it's a Minnesota problem. I live in Georgia. It could become a Georgia problem. All it takes is a bunch of crooked politicians. And I hate to say it, it's not always Democrats, because where I live, we have a lot of rhinos. Rhinos run the state of Georgia, unfortunately. So we could almost bet that at some time in the future, this could happen where I live. So it's unfortunate for me to even think about how many people that actually need help aren't getting the help. And for him to be standing outside of a daycare center with nobody there, middle of the day on a weekday, and the doors are locked. They're just using this to pad their own pockets and send money back to their countries. And a lot of times that money ends up in the hands of terrorists. And we know that to be true.
Right. Yeah. Crystal, so many people are saying this is a Somali problem. And we also have heard how we've seen radical Islam infiltrate many parts of the United States. But when we talk about that, when we say that, we're being called xenophobic. What are your thoughts there?
I always say I am so sick and tired of this gaslighting that they try to do to us all the time. They constantly try to gaslight us and try to make us feel bad for speaking truth. We are not supposed to be quiet in this situation. Truth is truth. And it's on both sides of the aisle. Let's be real about it. Both the Democrats and the rhinos, they want to push this Islam is peaceful, Islam is our friend, Islam is this, Islam is that. But if we pay attention to the rest of the world, we see exactly what Islam is doing. It is taking over. And they're not coming in there to be peaceful. As many of them have said, they have come to dominate. If that means taking money to send back to their countries to assist in their plans to take over, that's what they're going to do. So what is happening in Minnesota is exactly what Linda B said will happen everywhere. And I honestly feel like we need a Doe style audit over there in Minnesota and in other parts of the country, because how many people are out here not getting the services that they need, not getting the funding that they need, not getting the help that they need because the money is being fraudulently spent. I really feel like we need a Doe style audit across the US.
Absolutely. Blanca, you actually called the daycare. Talk about that. And what do you think is really going on?
Yes, I actually did call. I called the number that is on the door. And there's also the number that's on the sign. That happens to be two different numbers. One went right to voicemail. The other rang. Now we're 1 hour ahead. And so at 4:23, this is from someone who actually ran a daycare and was licensed, and we always passed our inspections. daycares usually don't close around 4. Usually there's aftercare programming, but it's just incredible. I shared with you, and I want to share briefly one of the infractions. I actually went to the licensing website for all of the daycare centers. They are still showing active as of today.
Wow.
Yes. And just want to read one of the infractions that they had back in June. It says here that written parental permission had not been obtained for administering medicine or topical products on a child. That was that was one of a list. And so I do hate to say it like, oh, I agree, but I want to say it again, like Linda said and Crystal said, the people that should be helped are not being helped. So this lets us know where it is. And now we need to find out how to remedy this, because we cannot continue. Now, Minnesota isn't one of the states that withheld SNAP benefit. But since COVID, they have had errors upon errors upon errors on their data.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just not just these daycares. I mean, it came out within the last 24 hours that there also Somalis are buying homes in Minnesota to use as home care, and they sit empty. And then they bill the state for millions per year. So according to Town Hall, 450 homes have been confirmed. So again, somebody mentioned in the chat, these Somalis have figured out the perfect plan on how to scam Minnesota taxpayers. And there are real people with real issues that need assistance. Okay, but this money, our tax-paying dollars, are being used to fraudulently pay for this stuff. And the leaders here, these elected officials, aren't doing anything about it. Here we have Tim Walz. He is going off about JD Vance, who came out at Amfest this weekend and said white people should not have to apologize for being white. This is what he chooses to focus on. This is clip 5. Take a look.
So this is what happens when your own federal government wages war against you. This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy. When you hear the Vice President of the United States talk about now white people won't have to apologize for being white. That's never happened once in my whole damn life. And I think everybody in this room knows what they're doing. So we're here today to say enough of this. We're here today to stand that Minnesota will protect their neighbors.
Shelley, I mean, what is he talking about? This is what the Democrats have been doing ever since what's her name, Nancy Pelosi bowed with a kente cloth.
Every description that he named or labeled against JD Vance, it really applies to Tim Walz, okay? From the line, the scapegoating, even using people for their own benefit. That's what Tim Walz has done. And all of those Somali, whatever leaders or wherever they are, whatever their position is in that community. Again, these are taxpayers' funds. I don't care if you live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Alaska. Taxpayer funds equals Americans. Our money. I want an accounting of it. I want our money back. I want my money back. Tim Walz, the Somalis, they have the audacity to go build homes, and we have a whole generation of young men and even women, but young men particularly, who cannot afford to buy a home in the United States. They can't afford to start their families, is what they're saying, but yet they can take $18 billion, and that's only $18 billion that we know of. I contend that it's much, much more, double, maybe even quadruple more that we don't know about as of yet. So this Tim Walz can go sit on it, and I hope he sits on it in a cold, hard cell on his, never mind, I won't say that part. Nevertheless, before I go on, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Look, it's Christmas Eve. We're going to call out our super chatters here, and we're going to start with, come on out, first one. Come on out. Come on, producers, bring it. We have Kung Fu CJ with your $2 super chat for being a member of our Freedom Club, and he's one of our mods. He says, wow, hello, ladies. Hello, PMP family. Thank you, Kung Fu CJ. And I'm back again for your $2 super chat. He says, there's no men tonight. Get it, girls. All right, we're getting it on. And because it's Christmas Eve, I'm just feeling not Scroogey. I'm just going to say hi to all our mods. I'm going to get through you. I'm just going to say hi. Liberty, Bernie, Agatha, Kimberly, all in the stupid chat. I will get through you throughout the night. Okay, give us a chance.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, folks. Your super chats go a long way in helping us produce this content. We are conservatives, again, God-fearing, truth-seeking, American-loving people, and we appreciate you guys. You help keep us online, so thank you all so much. All right. But I want to really talk about this because you saw, Linda, how he tried to change it around and say how, oh, what do you mean we apologize for being white when this man came out the womb apologizing for being white? What are your thoughts there?
Just deflection. I mean, he knows that he's in some real deep poo-poo. Tim Walz is that he's just deflecting, trying to deflect away from what he's doing. And Democrats always want to call and make it look like Republicans are racist, white supremacists. If I hear that term one more time, they even call Black people white supremacists. That's how bad it is when they can't find anything else to say. Tim Walz knows that what he has been doing and allowing to go on in his state, that I'm sure he had his hands in the cookie jar as well and want it to continue. And so they deflect and try to make it seem like this is something that's race-based when it comes to the Somalis because they're people of color, and making it seem like this is because these are dark-skinned people. That's the only reason you're picking on these people. And then you have liberal people coming out saying things like, we're sorry for how this administration is treating you, but we want you to know we welcome you. We love you, and we're here for you. All while they're taking billions of dollars. Like Shelley said, we know of 18 billion. We don't really know the total amount. And we do need an audit. But this is just regular deflection. Like, we don't know what you're really doing. Like, we see you. Okay. Like, we're looking right at you. We know what you're all about. Okay. There's information out there. He knew about it. He had his hands in the cookie jar, and they're just going to try to push it off on Donald Trump and blame him for something, or blame his administration, or push it off on JD Vance. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nicole, I want to get your thoughts on this next clip. This is a Democrat in Minnesota at a mosque crying and groveling to Somalis. Take a look here. This is clip 6.
Whether you are in my Senate district or not, I am here to tell you how much we are in support of every one of you. And with my colleagues, we are heartbroken by the horrible actions of our government, and we want you to know that at the state level, we will do all that we can to support you. Whether you live in our district or not, we are here. We bring greetings from all of our Senate DFL colleagues, including my House partner, Patty Acom, who wishes she could be here, but she's not. So please reach out to us. Whether you live in our district or not, if you have friends, relatives, anyone who needs our help, we are 100% committed to helping you. You are welcome here. You belong here. And we are here for you. I apologize. I have to leave for another commitment, but we are here. Senator Swadzinski, Alex Falconer, and I will do, and the mayor, we will do all that we can to support you, protect you, and help you as needed. So please accept that and know how much we care about you, and are glad that you are here in our community.
I really don't know what to say.
What is she crying for, Nicole? What is she crying about?
Do you know when white guilt supersedes good sense, this is what you get. You get, I hate to call them awful because awful is such a good word, but these awfuls falling apart to prove that they're a good person. It hurts their spirit. It hurts their soul when someone says they're not a good person. You would rather have these crooks, criminals pimps and racists come into your community because you know they don't like you, right? You know that they don't do white people. It's not what they do. It is not who they do. You're only good to take money from, right? You don't see them saying, well, you know, look at her crying. Man, she's really on our side. You saw them clapping for her like, look at this dingy bitch. Look, yeah, we're going to keep robbing you. We're going to turn your pockets inside out just so you can sleep, quote unquote, at night as a good person. Let me tell you, Minnesota is a small thing. You wait until they come here to Maryland. You wait until they go to California. The best thing these Somalis have given the United States is a blueprint to chase other immigrants who are bilking this nation. You know, taking state money, Minnesota's got to answer for that. But these people who are starting these home health care homes are taking money from Medicare. CMS don't play. You can ask Shelley. CMS doesn't play with you. They don't have it to do. So you're going to see some federal prosecutions with some teeth behind it. And what's going to happen is we're probably never going to see 1% of the money that they stole back. We're probably not going to see that. And we're going to spend more money locking them up, more money in trials and whatnot. But it will give us one thing, the blueprint to go after other people. And hopefully they use that reasonably well when they go to California, when they go to other blue states. Because if you think Minnesota is a one-off, you've got to be crazy. You have got to be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Blanca, you worked with people here in Baltimore City, you know, people who need help with education, people who whose kids may have disabilities or learning disabilities, all that type of stuff. I mean, to see these lawmakers and these elected officials cry on behalf of this community that is, most of them are scamming people. What is that? How does that make you feel? What is your thoughts on that exchange we just saw?
Well, as you all know, I'm an immigrant. I came from El Salvador. And so if there's anything that is more blatant, it couldn't be more blatant clear, is that individuals are okay with being used. Because remember, they're pandering for votes. This is a lady that is pandering. You know, I was wondering if Van Hollen was over there. I was looking for him. I was like, is he there as well? Remember, he flew to El Salvador, my home country. He flew there, but couldn't drive to Hartford County to visit the mom who lost her daughter. Okay, and so they're using one another. So here's, you know, the Somalis or whoever, let's just call them who they are, whatever criminal element, whether legal or illegal, that's not even the issue, is the criminal element now has festered. The criminal element is going to get them, you know, the power of the purse. They know where that is. And then the power of the pandering is what this particular woman, you know, regardless of her color, regardless of her age, she wants to appear sympathetic. But yes, you know, it's sad that someone will not get what they need. Well, you know, I have to leave. I have another commitment. You know, I'm here for you, but you know, hey, you know, just it kind of like, you know, I just felt like it was so fake to say I am with you. I am here for you. I got another commitment. It's almost like say goodbye to the hand. And, you know, I'm handing it off to someone else, which happens to be two males. And they don't know. How about Frey, who's learning Somali to speak? How about Wu? How about Mayor Wu in Boston, who said they belong here, that they have added that? How about the others who are saying the Somalis commit less? I mean, even that criminals, illegal immigrants commit less crime than legal criminals. Where do you get this data? So it is sad to see that, and again, I don't want to say it's just white a sector of, I call it the pandering gang. The pandering gang is out there saying, if I don't fight for them, I won't get reelected. And no one can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Crystal, I mean, particularly the Democrats have tried to turn this around and say, well, this is the Christian thing to do. Despite all of the fraud, despite all of the lying and cheating that we've seen in these programs, they say this is the Christian thing to do. This is how you help people. We shouldn't worry about all of the fraud and things. It's a small thing when it's about helping people. What are your thoughts on that narrative?
The scripture says, submit to the law of the land. The scripture also says, a man that does not work does not eat. Therefore, everything that they're saying is foolishness. And that tells me that they have never picked up a Bible and actually read it and understand what the Bible says. All I see amongst these people are wolves in sheep's clothing, because that fake crying, and those same people will be the same people who will slide up in any of my shows and call me the black face of white supremacy. So I don't want to hear the foolishness that we're here for you, we support you, we're being Christ-like. You're not being Christ-like, because the God that I serve, he's very clear. He says welcome foreigners, but he also says foreigners who come in and not try to take over your land. And clearly, these people are coming in here to come and take over the land, and they want to remove God from our land. And God has no parts of that. So they can go ahead with their fake Jesus, which is what they're trying to put on their fake Jesus. But that is not the God that I serve, period, point blank.
Yeah, you're right on with that. Shelly, you want to read the super chat?
Yes, we have a few more super chatters here. Again, it's Christmas Eve. We thank you so much for your super chats. We have Big Country 601. Thank you for your $5 super chat, saying Americans should collectively stop filing income taxes. I have said this before. Nothing to steal after that. I know it's not realistic, but I can dream. Hey, why not? I mean, dream a dream, the American dream. Stop paying our taxes. If we stick to it and we do it together, we can do it. Thank you for your super chat. Liberty Girl 912, thank you for your $10 super chat and for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. She's saying, Merry Christmas, everyone. May you all be blessed. You ladies look beautiful. Jesus is the reason for the season. That's right. Remember Kirk Franklin, Jesus is the reason for the season. I say, yeah. All right. At Righteous Perspective, thank you for joining us again with your $10 super chat. He says, what's up, ladies? Hey, Linda and Crystal. Thank you, Righteous Perspective. And we also have Josh. Hi, Josh. Merry Christmas. Thank you for your $20 super chat. Hey, KJ, Nicole, and Shelly. Great to see you, Crystal, Blanca, and Miss Linda B. Merry Christmas to all of you. Yes, and again, a shout out to some of our mods. We have Shrinkarella here. We have Laura, and I want to say LJ and Frankie. Thank you. I'll get around to you tonight. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's Christmas Eve.
All right. Don't forget Allie, too. I don't know. I think you already said her. But
okay, I'll say it again. Thank you, Allie.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you guys. And as you come in, please don't forget to hit that like button. Hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. Please do that and subscribe if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting for? Subscribe. All right, we're going to change gears a little bit here and talk about something that's kind of sad. And you ladies, tell me what you think. Dan Bongino. So he has announced Wednesday that he will step down next month, concluding a short and turbulent tenure marked by disputes with the Justice Department. Here he is on this image one. All right, do we have that image? Yes. There where he wrote, this was actually back in July. He says, during my tenure here as the deputy director of the FBI, I have repeatedly relayed to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. The director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us. But what I have learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into these aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. Okay, and he goes on to talk about, them conducting these investigations. He's searching for truth, and to God bless America. But that was very striking, where he said that what he's learned has shocked him to his core. Now, Dan Bongino has always been a favorite of mine. When he had his podcast, I watched it religiously. He seems to me to be a patriot, a strong patriot for this country, for conservatism. Shelly, I know this really struck you. What are your thoughts on his resignation?
Yeah. What it tells me and confirms, the swamp is deep. Okay. Dan Bongino was a former, Secret Service for the presidents, for other administrations. It tells me the swamp is deep, and either you get out before you, I guess, drown in it, but you're going to have a hard time changing it, if you will, even from the inside. Look, I don't like it any more than anyone else does, but the system is set up to reproduce itself for good or for bad. And I think Dan is finding out that, try as he might and wanting to get rid of all the swamp meat, if you will, it's going to take much, much more than his doing, even, maybe Cash Patel, even if, as much as President Trump might want to be done. Not much is going to change in that daggone swamp. That's number one. Number two, I know he said his family is struggling without him there. So I applaud him going back there and taking up his podcast. I suspect that once he goes back to his podcast, he's going to tell us as much as he can, legally, constitutionally, as much as he can, right up to that, I guess, that non-disclosure line, if you will. It's a little bit of mixed feelings, but I get it. The swamp is deep, and Dan does not want to sink.
Yeah. Nicole, I mean, this resignation, this early resignation, is something conservatives should pay attention to. I mean, this isn't some fading pundit getting pushed out. He's a fighter. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Do you think this signals conflict or something else?
No, I think, Dan is a family man now, right? He is a fine Republican, and here's hopes that he comes back to Maryland and runs for Congress again. I'm here for all of that energy. But what I know to be true about the DOJ, what I know to be true about all of our law enforcement agencies, is they're very heavy administratively. And these are what they call career people. These are people who work for the federal government. They're not beholden to the president. They're not beholden to their directors. These are what they call rank and file members. And these people have their personal preferences, overwhelmingly liberal, overwhelmingly so. So although you come in with the best intentions and you come in and you want to do the right thing, but you've got a staff of 4,000 people and only about 20 of them are rocking with you. So it's difficult. It is a very hard road to toe. And these people are playing to win. They always have. The FBI is not a nice place. This is not where people go to get the warm and fuzzies. That is not what they do. Ask Comey. They come for your neck if you're not like them. Dan has a family. I'm not saying that he was threatened. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is this man says that he needs to spend time with his family. That is his priority. And I applaud his decision. His future is bright. He can go back to his very, very successful podcast. Again, I would love for him to run again. I would absolutely adore for this man to run again for Congress. That would be amazing for Maryland. It would be a great stretch for our state. However, I'm concerned that the deep state was shocking to him. That tells me, as Shelley said, it's worse than we could have even considered. So it's going to take a lot of ousting. I know that they agreed to make the rifting stop as a part of reopening the government earlier in the month. But maybe, just maybe, there needs to be some more carving done to kind of get this thing to a place where we can actually have a productive FBI.
Yeah. I mean, Blanca, Bongino has a track record of choosing principle over platform. He was a former Secret Service agent, as we said, walked away from political runs before. He walked away from media opportunities and money in the past. He has repeatedly chosen independence over influence. But now with him resigning early, do you think there's something more to this? And if so, what?
Well, to me, he was there for just 10 months. He'll be leaving next month. He was He started March 17th, just 2 months into the second term. Yes, we know that he, I believe, knew maybe what was going to be uncovered, but maybe not to what the extent. What are the layers? Who is the one that's really maybe hiding information? And then he found it. And you remember those bags that they found on the lower level of a building that was supposed to be discarded and that wasn't? Then I applaud him for working for 4 years to find that individual who planted a bomb, and so I know that he probably worked and never probably could rest, if that makes sense, because I really believe that the sewer must be unclogged along with the swamp, which is just corrupt. It reminds me, not that I'm saying it's anything like it, but it reminds me when I was in the school system where, you were asked to falsify information, you were just asked to not count kids that were late, not count who was actually on the roster. The kids could have moved 2 years prior to another state, to another school system. And they were like, oh, well, we don't know enough to take them out of the roster. And everybody knows that each child comes with a price tag. And so I'm wondering, was he threatened? I think of Holman. He said that Tom Holman said that his wife can't even live in the home. And they, that she's protected. And also I think of Elise Stefanik, who has withdrawn from the gubernatorial election in New York. I'm wondering. She did.
She's leaving Congress. She's leaving Congress.
And she's leaving Congress. So we're talking about just the extent of what is found. Then what do you do when you know? And then can it be remedied? Because the remedy is I've never worked for government, but I've worked for entities, and the bureaucracy is just so deep. And I'm not quite sure if maybe they asked him to do something that he wasn't comfortable doing, but I'll tell you, he left, and that he left earning more to go to a place. And so it wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the glory. He already had a name. He was already named. His name was recognized. And so he will continue. But I dare to say, I wonder if at the end of it, people are threatened. Or like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as we know, she's leaving as well. If it was just like, you come to our side, or in other words, who is really managing who stays? Because that club must be tight as anything.
All right. Crystal, what are your thoughts? What did you think of Dan Bongino, and what do you think his next steps are going to be after he leaves the administration?
I love Dan. I really, really love Dan Bongino. I used to, again, like you, listen to his podcast and things of that nature. I think of it like, sometimes you think until you actually get into it, because you have an idea, you think it's this bad, but then when you actually see how bad it is and how tied up it is, the web that it's wrapped up in, and the evil that's associated with it. I'm not saying he was threatened, but you think of, he's a family man. You got to think about your family. You got to think about all of these things associated with it. And you're like, is it really worth it? Is it really, like, there's sometimes I stop and say the level of the swamp, only God can fix the level of the swamp, because there's so much evil, and the swamp doesn't just sit in America. The swamp is across the world. It's like hands reach from all different countries involved in all of this. So you could be fighting the good fight here in America, but whose hand is over in another country, in another continent, that's putting their hands in? And who do you think is your ally, but really is trying to take you down? There's so many different parts to it. So you have to think about all that and decide is it really worth it? I've done what I need to do, which, like we said, find the person who was involved with the bombing, the J6 bombing attempt. We have gotten back so many children. We have taken down so many rings. I have done a lot. And I can hear him saying, I've done a lot, but you have to look at your family and look at your life and say, should I really take this any further? Because there's some things that I can't do. And y'all just gave me a blow in my chest with the Elise Stefanik, because I thought Elise was still running. And to hear that
she announced last week. She announced while we were at Amfest. She
was our hope. Like, she was the hope for New York, kind of. And you're just like, what is happening? So that's what I'm saying. What is it that you're seeing? Because like y'all said, unearthing these burn bags that they had, the things that Tulsi, and I pray for Tulsi all the time, the things that Tulsi is unearthing. There's so much that is being unearthed because there's so much things hidden. And it's like a wasp nest. Once you get to it, what they will want to do to you, because you first of all, you took away their USAID, you've taken away all their little slush funds everywhere. You don't know what these people do, because now you have touched everything and you have cut off all of their things. So I pray for all of them, because this is a scary place to be. But I think Dan will go back to doing his podcast, and like others have said, he'll probably share as much as he can without giving away too much. Because again, sometimes, I hate to say it in this instance, sometimes ignorance is bliss, because I don't know if Americans can handle knowing all that really is intertwined in these situations.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Rob Reiner and A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth.
That part.
Yeah. Linda, I want to get your opinion or perspective from being in Georgia. You mentioned how Georgia is it's Republican, but it's full of rhinos. What do you see is going on here? And what do you think his next move will be, Dan Bongino's next move?
I do think, like Crystal was saying, he'll probably go back to his podcast and just reveal what he can reveal. But on a deeper note, I really feel like he wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to get in there. Like, you have these like moments where you feel like, I can make a difference. I can really, go in here and help clean things up. And then you get in there and it's just worse than you ever could have imagined. You never thought it could get so bad. And we don't know whether or not he was threatened or not. But I'm going to be honest with you, it would not surprise me if, because people have said in the past, Marjorie Taylor Greene and others have said that they have received death threats. So when you don't walk the walk and toe the line and be a part of the little nasty club that everyone else is a part of, they want to do things to you. They want to make threats. And sometimes, I hate to say it, they try to make very good on those threats. All right. There's a lot that we don't know, and it's scary. I can only imagine. People have told me this, that you should run for office. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. It is too filthy. It is too dirty. I might come in there thinking I'm going to change things for the better, and I get sucked into this machine of filth, and I don't want to. And I feel like Dan Bongino is a decent human being. I believe he's a true American patriot. He got in there wanting to make change, and then looked at his family. He cares more for his family than he does that position. And you have to weigh the cost. Is this worth it? I could lose my family. They could lose me. So those are just things that people have to think about. Like, is this even worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, we got to keep these people lifted up in prayer. They are fighting a spiritual battle here. This is all spiritual. This is what it is. It's good. It's good against evil. And so we have to continue to keep our elected officials, keep leaders lifted up in prayer as they battle, folks, because we know that prayer does change things. And speaking of prayer and the spiritual realm, we got to move to Israel. So many of us, are just coming back from Amfest. And we talked about this in the last show. It was a great event. It was based on the foundation of it was Bible and faith. And so that's what I really enjoyed about it. But there was a lot of infighting on stage between some of the biggest pundits on the right. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Scott Bannon, Ben Shapiro. Well, here is Scott Jennings on CNN talking about the infighting. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
But I mean, should there be boundaries? Should someone be able to go up on that stage and say, if you believe these things, you are not part of our movement?
Well, look, my personal view is that this was an event. It's the first big rally since Charlie got murdered. And specifically what Candace has been doing, terrorizing a grieving widow for the last several months with conspiracy theories, some of them wrapped up in this whole Israel nonsense, is nothing short of despicable. And I think Ben was right to call that out. I didn't hear Ben calling for the excommunication or the deplatforming of anyone, but I do think it's more than reasonable to say, what kind of a movement allows someone in whose job is to monetize the grief of a widow after she had to witness her husband and the leader of this organization get murdered? I think that's more than in bounds for him to talk about. Look, we're a political party and a political movement. We're not a sponge. You don't have to absorb everything that oozes in under the door. I think that was Ben's point. And look, everybody's going to have a right to say whatever they want. It's not about free speech. It's about what sort of speech you want to be identified with. I, for one, don't really want to be identified with someone who is terrorizing a grieving widow.
All right. So first, I got to say quickly, that part where he said we're a political movement, we're not a sponge. I mean, the way he put that out there was really, I thought, the most eloquent way I've heard anybody respond to what we're seeing on the right. I want to go to you, Shelley. You know, I know you are a huge free speech advocate. Now, he's saying this isn't about free speech. This is about who we as a party are using to identify as part of us. What are your thoughts on what he said?
Yeah, I'm going to say I slightly disagree with Scott in that I don't think we can separate the free speech from this movement, if you will. If free speech is one of our primary values for our Constitution, certainly for the conservative movement. So I don't think we can separate that. However, I do agree, like we said before, this I think we talked about it last night. TPUSA is a political organization. This conservative movement, we are, if you will, trying to define or at least hone in on the important matters that will define us, particularly in the midterms going into 2026. That's fine. I said before, we've talked about on here, this needs to play out because I think ultimately it's going to show that, guess what? We are the ones that can have debates, even if we disagree. We can have them, and we're not the ones going around assassinating people for the things they say. So I think this has to play out long-term, short-term, and in between. But I don't think we can separate the free speech. It may not be the primary issue. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I don't think we can separate it out.
All right. Nicole, I want to specifically ask you to respond to what Shelley said, because is it an issue? Are we choosing not to platform someone or not to give them softball questions during an interview, someone who is conspiratorial, or even someone like Nick Fuentes, who is people have called him evil? Is that the same as saying this? Is that a free speech argument in your perspective?
Well, it depends on what you mean by platforming. So if you're talking about having him on a podcast or some created content that is not newsworthy, you can have who you want. We could have a very intense conversation with this elephant behind me, and it would be intriguing, right? But there are people who don't like elephants who'd be like, why the hell are they talking elephants? What is going on? But this is not to influence people's votes. This is not to influence what people know to be newsworthy, not opinion, not, entertainment, but newsworthy. It's very different when you bring in Nick Fuentes and purport him to be a bearer of actual news, of actual fact. And that's where a lot of people took exception with Tucker, because Tucker held him up to be something other than a social media influencer.
Right.
Social media influencers take themselves very seriously. I mean, it is what they do. They're the new muckety mucks. They feel like the world revolves around in their hand. And I get it. They got lots of followers, lots of people watching them, talk about whatever they're talking about. But the truth of the matter is, when you boil it down to what Scott was saying, when it comes down to it, we're allowed to disagree. I may not like people who, and he used the right words, terrorize widows. I don't like that. So I won't watch Candace. I won't watch some people who support Candace. And it's okay because she's got 9 million other people who are down the rabbit hole with her and they're going to live a good life. But no one is holding Candace up saying this is a purveyor of truth. This woman is exactly what the GOP believes. We're not doing that. And I think it was very clear the way Scott framed it. And I love that analogy as much as you did, KJ, that that's not what we're doing. These are social media influencers slinging mud. I kind of hated to see some more like top tier people kind of fall into the trap, Megyn Kelly and that kind of thing. But alas, that's what they are. And there's really no space for people to call them anything other than social media influencers. And so they're going to fight. They're going to fight for clicks. They're going to create content by starting little battles with one another. And that's okay because that's what they're supposed to do. But what they're not is legislators. They're not thought leaders. That's not what they are. And we should stop trying to make them into things that they're not. I think that's some pretty sage advice. Tim Parrish, who was sitting next to Scott, was on there. And that's something that Timmy believes, that we should not be putting crowns on people's heads because they got a lot of followers. And I agree.
Yeah, very good point. Although we were just talking about Dan Bongino, who was he had a large platform on Rumble. He was a social media influencer, podcaster, and deputy FBI director. So, I mean, these people do, some of them go on to be in the political realm. Look at, my goodness, Donald Trump. I mean, he was, he was a reality TV star. I mean, of course, he was a businessman and all that, but he was really known for being, on reality TV. And now he's the president of the United States. So, I mean, I agree somewhat with you, but these people do carry a lot of sway and weight. Now, before I get you other ladies involved in this, I want to show you what Scott Jennings also said about Charlie Kirk and what Charlie Kirk thought about this. This is clip 3.
The issue with Israel and the Republican Party, we haven't talked much about him tonight, but Trump has been unapologetically pro-Israel, and he's very popular there, and the Jewish people in Israel appreciate him very much. And so as it relates to his leadership, he's been unequivocal. This connection between Vance and Charlie Kirk is interesting. Charlie Kirk very much supported JD Vance, helped him get elected to the Senate. His wife has come out and endorsed him for president. If I may, just read a couple of comments. Charlie Kirk said he would, quote, never build a big tent with Nick Fuentes. I don't align with Jew haters. Sorry, I'm not going to put up with Jew hatred in the conservative movement in America. And Erica Kirk said, what healing factor comes out of hating Jewish people? Nothing. Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. And so if you believe what is true, which is that Vance has a very strong connection to Erica and the Kirk family, they are long on the record of opposing aligning with anti-Semitic elements.
All right. So, and we know that Charlie Kirk himself, really did not want Nick Fuentes within the conservative movement. He was actually thrown out of a TPUSA event. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Linda. Is this a free speech issue, or is this something where, like, Scott Jennings said, we're not sponges. We don't have to absorb everyone.
I don't think it's a free speech issue. I mean, I'm really not sure what to say right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. No, that's all right.
I was thinking about something else. Like, seriously, I was thinking about something else. I was just not on that free speech plane. I was really thinking more about the whole Israel, like the splintering and the MAGA movement over Israel. That's just
we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that next. We're going to do that next. But I want to get Blanca in on this. What are your thoughts on the issue between free speech and a platforming?
Well, one thing that I know is that I'm seeing a lot of let's present content, whether we connect with the hearers. And so when you create, whether you have 5 followers or 5 million, okay, you are constantly are going to look, regardless of, I don't even think Candace, I have listened to her, and I have listened to her even lately. I don't really think that she cares who hears her. as long as she has the liberty to say, she'll say, well, sources, I have sources, and she has some police officer sources, and I'm thinking, my source sent this, and so it's the reverse of wanting to connect and then present content that is actually valuable. And so if you present the content and it doesn't connect, it's not really like a loss. I saw her show about a couple of weeks ago just to see. And she has a of course an affiliate and everything, and to me that, yes, I understand, it's like the concept of, okay, you have a business, right? But to me it's like, it just seemed like, man, is it just, are some influencers just for the money, or are they really, do they want to effect change? Just like we talked about it, we're going to have more voters, more people register. Are we going to have more voters informed? It seems that as long as content can be created, it doesn't matter to many whether it connects or not. Just, it doesn't really matter if, so to me, it's the free speech is, I'm going to say it, I'm going to see where it falls. And I just think it's dangerous to have this huge platform where you could affect change like this. Pop in Politics has grown over 200,000, but that was because of the work, the undergirding work, as opposed to we're going to get so big that we can just say anything. I think that's what I'm bothered most. You have this huge platform now. The stage is yours, basically. The lights are on you. And I just find that why so many are divisive. They're rich, they have a voice, and the effect for change doesn't seem to be, I just find her very, very, I don't know. I can't figure her out.
Very well said. Well said, Blanca.
Well, Blanca, thank you for that, because we have some connections with our super chatters here. They want to connect with us, and so we are going to say thank you to them. We have Kung Fu CJ for your $2 super chat. Thank you. He says the Maryland man is free in Maryland right now. I'm just saying, that's right. Free, whom the sun sets free is free indeed. All right, we have Raw Truth. Thank you for your $20 super chat. Thank you and love you all. We love you right back. Thank you for that super chat. We also have Kimberly for our $10 for your $10 super chat. Thank you also for being a member of our Freedoms Club. She's saying, just going to say it, Bondi and Patel, neither can be trusted. Ooh, okay. All right, Kimberly, thank you for that. Red Box, hi, where have you been? Thank you for your $5 super chat and your super sticker. Thank you all for that. And we have one more again. Oh, Kung Fu CJ is back with your $10 super chat. He says, remember, KJ, this is a spiritual war. People are being threatened. Remember, they came after me because of what I'm not sure what that means. What I am on your arm now. Stay in prayer and arm your family. Thank you for Kung Fu CJ for that. And we also have Steel Toe. Where have you been? Haven't seen you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Thank you for your $10 super chat. He says it's not about free speech in this case. It's about who you want to associate with. She can say whatever she wants, and she will continue to do so. All she has lost is her credibility. All right. Thank you for that. Merry Christmas again to our mods. And I got a few more. Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm just going to say Merry Christmas to you all and give us a minute before we close out. We're just going to say a special thank you to you all. We have Liberty Girl here. She's been a member of our Freedom Seekers Club for 2 months. Saying Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry Christmas. Thank you all for those super chats. Look, we have about almost 300 people watching, and we are short a few likes. So hit that like, share, and subscribe button right now. Get the numbers up, and it helps us in the algorithm. You all know I don't know how that works, but just humor me anyway and hit that button.
All right, absolutely. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, the Israel issue. And so many on the conservative side, on the right, are saying that is the real issue, Israel, and that is what's splintering the political right. And so here is, and take a look at this next clip where they kind of break this down. This is clip 1.
All right, so here's my pointed question for actually why you came. So you've got guys like Steve Bannon. He calls himself a Zionist. Mm-hmm. You've got Matt Gaetz, who just did the interview with Tucker Carlson. He calls himself pro-Israel. You've got a lot. Megyn Kelly has been traditionally extremely pro-Israel. Their biggest beef is that they feel, and by the way, Charlie had this conversation with Megyn, just before he was assassinated, actually. It was just this feeling from like the Gentile friends of the Jewish people in Israel that there is a moral blackmail campaign where the pressure just feels like, if you're only with us 80% of the way, we're not going to be happy, and we're gonna call you names. I do find it counterproductive. I'm not saying everybody's guilty of it. I'm literally about to send a video to Dennis Prager wishing him a Merry Christmas because he loves Christmas. I love you like completely, even when I disagree with you. But that's so. What is that dynamic, and what do you do about that? Do you feel like the response after October 7th is driving away friends of Israel?
I'm going to give an analogy, okay? I am a person who feels that we should not be funding the Ukraine war, okay? I've thought that from the beginning. 2 weeks in, Putin was like, if you all just recognize the status quo and ratify it, that Crimea belongs to Russia, which he had already taken 8 years earlier, that the Donbass is independent, which there was a civil war there, and that Ukraine is not part of NATO, I'll withdraw immediately. I thought we should have pushed for that. We had gas prices were insane at the time. I just didn't understand why, a few hundred kilometers in Eastern Europe was the responsibility of the American working class to bear. Mm-hmm. Now, if you hold that view, which I do, you will get letters, snail mail delivered to your home with death threats from people who are pro-Ukraine. The entire Ukraine lobby will come after you. They will impugn your character. They will call you a Putin puppet. Doesn't matter how many times you say Putin is a thug and a murderer, which is what I believe. The people who feel very strongly about this issue will do everything they can to get you to shut up. And you know what, Andrew? That is their job. I don't hold that against them. And the idea that would make me embrace Russia as the good guys because the Ukrainians are behaving insane at the extremes, that's insane, because I don't answer to the inverse of what the most extreme people in a lobby are doing. I answer to my God. I have to face myself in the mirror. So, and the fact that there are these loons at the extreme of the Ukraine lobby, that doesn't even influence how I think about Zelensky or the Ukrainian people, or the vast majority of the people who think we should be funding the war in Ukraine. I have a policy difference that makes me very unpopular with a very big group of people, and the extremes of them are extreme in their opposition to me and think I should be dead for having my view. The idea that I would allow that to influence my view would make me an unserious person. So do I think there are people in the Israel lobby who embarrass me because they are extreme? Sure. Do I think Israel itself has in some ways behaved badly, especially vis-a-vis our president, the greatest friend the Jewish people have ever had? Yes. If somebody allows that to determine whether they interview Holocaust survivors, if anybody telling you that is an excuse to become anti-Semitic, I think is not a morally serious person. That is a person who is not answering to their God. That is a person who is answering to the inverse of the algorithm. And I look down on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you think some of the reaction has been counterproductive. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say that.
All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts on her response there?
Well, again, maybe I'm biased because I've loved Bacha for a few years, even before like this last year. So that's number one. Number two, again, I'm always going to say, and I actually believe it is okay to criticize Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, that does not make you automatically anti-Semitic, or I like to say, even for clarity, anti-Jew. It does not mean that. I'm an American. I criticize my own country. Why would I even think twice about not being able to or shouldn't criticize another country? So that doesn't even follow to me logically. So I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Jew, but there are some criticisms I may have. And as an American, I stand on the right to say so. If you want to call me those names, do so. It doesn't make it true. It does not cause me to lose any sleep. So I don't know. We're caught up in all of this, Israel this and Israel that. And then the third thing I'm going to say is that this issue, if you will, with Israel seems to have taken over the whole conversation in many ways on the right. We have a whole lot of other issues and things that we should be focusing on. Israel maybe should not be the main one, particularly when it comes to America first. America first, not America only. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this? Is the issue of Israel splintering the political right?
No, this is an embarrassment of riches, right? So let's just roll the calendar back, maybe a year, maybe two. What were we talking about on the right back then? Our wide open border, sky high inflation, crime was crazy, food was unbearably expensive. Do you know, in just 10 short months, the Trump administration has come in and shut down all of those major problems. So we no longer have to talk about how to battle immigration because we've got a fix for that. We don't have to talk about inflation being out of control. We've got a fix for that. So what do we have left? Foreign policy. Most people can't find Israel on a map. Let's just do that. Let's just go there. And I'm not saying that it's not worth talking about, but there are better things that we should be focused on. The midterms are quickly approaching. And one of the things that I think the Democrats have done well, and it is really the one thing that they have done well, is they've shifted the argument from everything that we've done right to affordability. Now, what does affordability mean? It means different things to different people, right? If I'm a millionaire, affordability, $200,000-$300,000 is nothing to me. But if I only make $25,000 a year, $100 is a whole lot of money. Affordability is what they've named all the things that they don't think that Republicans can put their fingers on. Instead of focusing on that, we're talking about Israel and Israel's fringe people. We got enough fringe peoples here. I feel Shelley on that. We got our own homegrown yahoos to worry about. We don't need to import them from other nations. The right has this embarrassment of riches that all the things that just kind of overtook us a year ago are solved. So what's next? We have to stay focused. We have to stay focused on this Trump agenda. We've got 3 years left on the clock to make sure this nation never goes back to men in dresses running our military, that our nation never goes back to mutilating children. We have got to stop thinking about what's going on in Israel. And I'm not saying I'm an isolationist. You guys know that I'm not. But America first means America first. We have to fix our homeland first before we start worrying about Israelis and their problems. This is not something that we should be focused on, and I'll stand on that.
All right. All right. Linda B., I know you have been waiting to tackle this issue. What are your thoughts here?
Let me just say, I am a Zionist. I'm very much pro-Israel. I attend a Messianic synagogue. I actually have a rabbi. So my opinion is that I believe that one of the reasons that America is so blessed is that we are like an ally to Israel. I take it all the way back to the Bible where it says, whoever blesses you, I will bless. Whoever curses you, I will curse. Now, having said that, I don't think that just because you have like someone said, an opinion, like you don't agree with everything the Israeli government does, like you have a legitimate concern with the prime minister, Netanyahu, that does not make you anti-Semitic. The problem I see on the right is that people are just not going along with everything the Israeli government does. And some super sensitive people on the right are like, you're an anti-Semitic. It doesn't mean that you're an anti-Semite, because you have some legitimate concerns or you see the Israeli government as being corrupt in some ways. I'm very pro-American. And like you said, I mean, one of you said that, wait a minute, I say bad things about my own government. That doesn't mean I am anti-American. There are just some things that you can clearly see with all the corruption going on. No one is actually being held accountable for anything that they do. That is just problematic in and of itself. And taxpayers are being left behind in place of illegal people who are literally draining us dry of everything. So I it could be splintering the right a little bit, but I don't know if it translates to how people vote. You know, I don't know if it really translates to like people are going to say like, I'm going to vote differently now because of this, but it does show others who may be independent voters who may or may not be swayed one way or another, seeing all this infighting, you know, that could be something that could sway people that are, you know, not necessarily belonging to one party or another. But
yeah, Crystal, I mean, do you think this is a distraction away from the real issues, or do you think that this is inevitably we always end up at the Israel issue?
So I'm gonna just backpedal real quick. Free speech is free speech, but free speech also has consequences. It's not free of consequences. And the reason why I say that is specifically about the Israel issue. So I agree with all of you. You have the right to criticize anybody you want to. Like you have that right. We have free speech. But I think the anti-Semitic conversation comes in when you have mouthpieces who have huge platforms like the Candaces, like the Tuckers, like the rest of them that are out here spewing it. And so then within the conservative movement, there are, as we say about the conservative movement, it is made up of a lot of people. It's not just one group type of people. It is made up of a lot of people. And for some people, that rubs them the wrong way. When you have Candace making statements like, we aren't going to vote in the midterms because we don't want to put people back in the office that stands with President Trump and Israel, you're just like, wait, why would you say something like that, ma'am? That's not something you say when we are in the midst of unearthing all of the fraud and all of the things that are going on. Why would you say something like that? Now you're being ridiculous, but then you'll have her followers saying, yes, we agree, we will not vote. And no, we need everybody to be involved in this because the Democrats are like, listen, if we can get in while they're sleeping and they're sitting here going back and forth about Israel, we gonna get in there. We will take while y'all are distracted. And that's the thing. God always talks about do not be distracted. And right now, I think these conversations cause distraction, meaning when Candace is pushing that anti-Semitic, it's not about disagreeing, because I don't think people have a problem with disagreeing. That's why I agree with Batya. I don't think there's a problem with disagreeing. I think the problem is when it becomes anti-Semitic, because if everybody's paying attention, number one, the increase of anti-Semitism that has been happening, you will see the increase of pro-Islam happening in America. So as one is growing, the other one. So people are saying it's bad things about Israel, and people are saying let's stand with Islam, and you're just like, wait, slow down, or y'all not paying attention. And as a Christian, I'm paying attention to everything because the Lord was very clear. In the last days, you will see that everyone will turn against Israel. And that is that's how you pay attention to the seasons, what time we're living in. So I'm paying attention and I'm watching how people are moving. So all I'm saying is there is consequences to it, because if people fall into that line where they actually start, because a lot of these people aren't even using their own brain. They have checked their brain out to Candace and Tucker and them, and they come into agreement with them, then they might mess up our midterms. And then when we have these conversations and we have people that are independent or maybe Dems, but they're moderate Dems, and they were actually interested in coming over, a lot of people highlight the infighting. So when they highlight the infighting, people are like, well, I don't want to be in that mess. Why do I want to go over there? I don't want to be a part of that. They don't even know what they're doing. So that's what I'm saying. Free speech is cool, but it does have it's not free from consequences.
Very good points. Very good points. Blanca, I want to give you the last word on this. Is Israel splintering the political right?
I don't believe that Israel itself, because I know that I live in Southeast Baltimore, where it's as liberal as the day is long. Okay. And I see things like the signs that will express I'm a Jew, but I am pro-liberation, pro-Palestine. And to me, that's more conflicting to now, meaning myself. I am a Christian as well, Crystal. And so I pay attention not to what a sign says, but what a sign would influence. That sign is going to, because it's going to first say, I mean, he happens to be the tutor that I hired for my son, actually, my math tutor back in the day. And so, and right away, that is divisive, where I am a Jew, but I am for this. But you don't hear that individual, because I know, he's pro illegal immigration. I just happen to know who he is. And so it's not so much Israel, but I believe that the friendship of us, meaning the country, meaning the U.S. friendship that we have with Israel, seems to me, maybe, I'm wrong, please, if someone else wants to chime in, it seems to me that keeps away the liberals. They actually do not like that. They don't like that conservatives have a not like, that we have to be friends with Israel or it's going to go bad for us. No, but I don't see a lot of people that are Jewish conservatives. They'll be Jew and pro-Palestine, but not Jew and pro-Christian. Because tell you, if we, I think Nicole, I know that she, and all of you, obviously, and including myself, I believe, but I mentioned Nicole because the breadth, I just think of Nigeria when Crystal was speaking. Okay. I'm thinking that if we, and it's not like I've dreamt something and I'm, saying something, I'm very careful what I'm about to say, but if we think that Christians are not going to suffer in a great way, it's a spiritual war, yes, but also we're going to suffer if we're going to stand for those who stand for truth. A conservative Jew does not want the mutilation of children, does not want abortion on demand at birth like it is in Maryland, does not want the parental rights to be left at the door when you drop off your child. Your child then is the state's child. A conservative Jew doesn't have that. And I think we are going to see an Islam is going to rear its ugly head. And then we're going to seem like, oh, we are not sympathizers for these people who are needy and vulnerable. When I just think that the enemy has really, really done a number to people who have a huge platform, and they practically can sway 1 million people just in that 1 hour of programming.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very good points. Very good points.
Yeah. So let's go to our super chatters. We have a few more super chatters here. Brown Eyes, thank you for your $20 super chat. And you're not going to make our brown eyes blue for Christmas, Brown Eyes, but thank you for your chat. Your super chat, you said, hello, ladies. I watch all of you on a regular basis. I am so proud of y'all. Thank you for your donation. We have Kung Fu CJ again.
Hey.
Your $2 super chat. He says, they came after me for what I know. Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
Well, don't tell us. Shrinkarella, thank you for your $20 super chat. Merry Christmas. Christ is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Thank you. Appreciate the PNP show. Great, no nonsense conservatives. Terrific panel. Linda B. I think she subscribed. Crystal will look you up. And you too, Blanca. Love your flag. Thank you for your donation, Shrinkarella.
All right.
All right. We have Catherine. Catherine Rex. Thank you for your $2 super chat. As Catherine says, I just have to say sorry for being, I think that's white.
Right.
Oh, okay. You don't have to be sorry for being white. You do not have to be sorry for any skin tone. That's how God made you, and God bless you.
All right. All right. Yes. So, final topic of the night. We got to end on Christmas. Okay. So, you all know this is our Christmas Eve as far as our online show, because we will not be on tomorrow. So for the Christmas Eve, YouTube Christmas Eve, this is our YouTube Christmas Eve. We got to talk about Christmas. And speaking of patriots, we got to talk about Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Okay, so she has been in the news recently for receiving some criticism for her Christmas proclamation. Okay. And so I want you guys to let us know, was she in her right or did she go too far? Take a look. This is clip 8.
The war on Christmas facing a fierce adversary in Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She is standing by her proclamation, closing state offices the day after Christmas, despite a Freedom from Religion group accusing her of abusing her power to push what is called Christian mythology. Hello, everybody. This is Outnumbered. I'm Rosanna Scotto. Joining us today, Carly Shimkus, Fox and Friends first co-host, Rebecca Heinrichs, Hudson Institute Senior Fellow, Donna Rotuno, criminal defense attorney and Fox News contributor, and Tom Shalhoub, Fox Nation host and Fox News contributor. Governor Sanders' proclamation gives state workers an extra day to celebrate the birth of Jesus with their families. It was met with backlash from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, a legal group that claims to promote the separation of church and state. The nonprofit sent the governor a letter saying, quote, "We request that in the future you refrain from using your position as governor to promote your personal religious beliefs. You are free to practice your religion in your personal capacity, but you cannot abuse your position as a government official and use government resources to demand state employees spend Christmas giving thanks for Christ's birth or proclaim it is the official position of the state of Arkansas that Christian mythology is true." Governor Sanders telling Fox News she will do no such thing, arguing it would be impossible for her to stay neutral on matters of religion. She says Christmas is not simply an end-of-the-year holiday with broadly observed secular cultural aspects, as your letter states. It's not gifts, trees, and stockings that make this holiday special. Christmas is the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, and if we are to honor him properly, we should tell his miraculous, world-changing story properly, too. Carly, a lot.
All right. All right. So let's get you guys' opinion on this. I want to start off with you, Crystal. I want to start off with you on this one. Do you think Governor Huckabee Sanders was in her right, or did she cross over the separation of church and state as this organization accused her of doing?
I'm gonna try right here, KJ, because this is a topic that gets me real hot.
Go off now. Go do what you need to do.
Governor Huckabee is in her right. Let me explain to you my problem with people. Because for some weird reason, they feel like Christians have to be domiciled. Christians must be quiet. Christians must practice their stuff privately. But they will put their pride flags everywhere in government and they don't care. They will put the pride flags in the classrooms and they don't care. They will fly the Palestinian flags everywhere. But Christians, you must be quiet. Christians, you shouldn't let everybody know about God. Keep that to yourself. You're trying to force your beliefs on us. But then when they want to force their beliefs, we are supposed to oblige. Absolutely not. We are supposed to boldly proclaim our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I will boldly proclaim it because he said, if you are ashamed of me on earth, I will be ashamed of you in heaven, and I will stand on that truth, and no one is going to shut me up. And I'm tired of these people doing that because they say nothing when the Muslim call to prayer is played 5 times. There's no complaints there. Everybody's good and happy with that. They don't care about people half dressed on a pride parade in front of their children. They don't care about that. You ain't trying to push nothing to nobody. But the minute somebody speaks about Jesus Christ, there's a problem. We're not playing that game anymore. And you know what? I'm going to say, like Nikki said, we aren't going to be pushed around no more. We are not stepping down for the bullies. We are going to stand up for Jesus Christ proudly and boldly.
All right.
Amen.
Yes, indeed. Blanca, what are your thoughts on this proclamation? Oh, you're muted, Blanca. There you go.
I called my mouse. I got to find the ultrasound. I got to find the ultrasound. Well, in the fine state of Maryland, Wes Moore must be saying, "Hold my crab," because he just declared that tomorrow, Christmas Eve, will be a holiday for state workers. So will Christmas. And a liberal leave for Friday. And so my point is how they're going to enjoy. They may not celebrate, okay? They may not come to the table, give thanks. Like someone said to me at Dunkin' Donuts today, "You're ready for Christmas?" I said, as a Christian, Christmas is every day. Mm-hmm. I am alive and well in him, and I will be found in him. And so, it isn't about the gifts. But something, any secular person, I know I did when I was not a Christian, will enjoy that extra day. They'll be like, hey, I don't care as long as I got the day off, right? So now Wednesday, Thursday, liberal leave right here in Maryland. So, and also, how about the noise ordinance that was changed? Because that prayer for the Muslims had to, people were complaining about the noise first thing in the morning, early. And we're talking about early, like between 3 and 5 in the morning. Well, they went ahead and changed the noise ordinance for them. So, accommodate for them, but make sure that we are, get the finger wagging crew saying, you be over there, and do your own thing. I'm disgusted, by the way, as well. Crystal mentioned this about the flag, that at my son's high school, not one American flag. That's why I have it in my bedroom. I actually, right there. That's why when I wake up, this is the first flag I see. It means that much to me. But there's not one flag. The American flag, which is by state law, should be in every classroom in Maryland. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not outside. It's not inside. I mean, even if I saw it, I would not want to, even if I saw it on the floor and being used for cleaning. But you're not going to find it there. But they have a big pride flag covering one of the big windows. And so I say this is the time, like you said, KJ, earlier, that we need to pray for one another. We need to be strengthened by one another, encouraged by one another, because we are not friends with the world. I'm thankful that we can celebrate. It is, there is only one king, regardless of what the No King's Day says, there is one king. So there's no king, because that's not true. There's only one king. And so I say, let's make sure that we take that opportune time to not boast, but to humbly present the greatest gift there is no other. Their greatest opportunity is for us to share the gift and the gospel message. And so people are going to enjoy the holiday. Those extra days they're going to enjoy, but let us rejoice in it beyond.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
Listen, people often misinterpret, the separation of church and state. They think it's a tool to punish the church for having state-like functions. That's not what that means. This particular instance for Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she was actually going to a menorah lighting when she had to respond to this foolishness. She's doing it exactly right. You're not going to say everybody in Arkansas has to be a Christian. What she's saying is people in Arkansas can practice whatever religion they want to, but guess what? We're going to be off these couple of holy days. You can do what you need to do, but we're all going to be off on these couple of holy days. As a Christian person myself, these are my beliefs. And for those of you who believe like me, great. For those of you who don't, you too can still have the day off. Now, there would be a violation if she said only Christians could be off that day. That's when separation of church and state comes in, because it's not only designed to protect church, it's also designed to protect the state. It's a seesaw, right? So when we think about days that we have off, federal holidays, well, I don't get any federal holidays, but federal holidays where people are off. White people are off on Martin Luther King Day. You don't have to be Black and Southern to be off on that day. Columbus Day is making a comeback. You don't have to be Italian to be off on Columbus Day. If I tell you this, Donald Trump gave the federal workers off for the holiday because it falls in the middle of the week. Take the day before, the day after. We'll see you on Monday. Imagine if he would have said only the Christians
Mm-hmm.
Only the Christians, the practicing Christians, the Jesus Christians, not the Catholic Christians, but just the Jesus Christians. Only you. Okay, only the people who go to church in Northwest. You know, if he would have pinpointed it down to this very small group, this nation would be on fire, and rightfully so. What she's saying is everybody gets to be off, and that's the right thing to do. Everybody in America loves a day off. We celebrate Flag Day. Most people, like Blanca was saying, don't even have a flag. But if it's a day off, you will see Americans like, woo, thank God I don't have to go to work. Let me take my shoes off, play a little PlayStation, you know, do whatever you're going to do on that day off. It is just the right thing to do. We've got bigger fish to fry. Let's go ahead and celebrate this holiday. I feel for these people, mostly because they're so misguided in everything that they're doing, and they're really missing the blessing and opportunity in trying to ruin a couple of days off for everybody else. So I need them to shut up so people can enjoy the extra couple of days and live a happy life. It's not that serious, folks. It really is not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Linda, what are your thoughts on this?
I just know that, Nicole, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just thinking it's not that serious. I mean, it's just a couple of days off. I mean, I really do get tired of these anti-Christian groups or anti-Christian Jesus-hating people always having something to say about everything. But like Crystal, I think, was saying, the Muslim call to prayer is going out 5 times a day in certain areas in this country. They're burning our flag. They've got the pride flag waving around. They've got porn, these pornographic books in different schools across the nation, and they're trying to say that we're pushing our religion off on them. They're pushing it off on whatever you want to call that satanic stuff, Satanism. They're trying to push it off on us, whether it's through TV shows, commercials, porn in the schools, the pride flag, the drag queen story hour, whatever it is. I felt like she was right to do this. It's not a big deal. Just have a day off. We didn't, like you said, no one said only the Christians can have a day off. Everybody gets that extra day off. So just enjoy it and stop demonizing Christians. It's really not that big a deal. And I'm tired of us always feeling like we have to be quiet. We can't say anything while they're loud. That's why I'm so loud on my channel. I'm probably loud right now because I just feel like, you know what? I am not going to shut up. I am going to talk about Jesus. I'm going to do it as much as I can while I can. And even then, when they tell me we can't do it anymore, I'm probably going to still be one of those nuts out there talking about the Lord. And I just feel like we just need to be bolder and louder and not be silent. And there's nothing wrong with what she did. I say kudos to Governor.
All right. Absolutely. Shelley, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, those people, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. There are some people in America who absolutely love to be miserable. That's it. They love misery. They want to find it. I mean, they look for misery like maybe some of us might be looking for $1 million. That's what they do. And they want to just, they dissolve in it. They absorb in it. They want to spread their misery instead of spreading joy, particularly around Christmas time. That's number one. No, Sarah Huckabee did not do anything wrong. Since like 1870, President Grant, governors have been issuing proclamations, particularly around national holidays. Again, you don't have to celebrate Christmas, but it is one of our national holidays, particularly since we are founded on a Judeo-Christian value system in our Constitution. You are free to not celebrate it. That's it. That's it. But you are not free to tell someone else they have to shut up about their faith. And in this case, Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her Christian faith. You can say that, but she is not obligated to oblige you to shut up and keep quiet, even though she's the governor. No one is stopping you from spreading, what is that? Freedom from religion. Have at it. Whatever you want to do, you can do that with your day. But you know what we will not see? I bet you in Arkansas, in Maryland, in DC for that matter, we will not see people banging on their work doors to say, let me in to go to work. I bet you won't see that. You will not see that on tomorrow or Friday. Those same jokers will be taking their time, having their feet up, eating too much or whatever, getting drunk, just like anybody else would do. And like some people, they're going to be worshiping, or at church or at their synagogue if they go. I'm not sure. Don't take that and call me anti-Semitic because I just don't know. Whatever. But they're not going to be banging on saying, I want to go to work. I bet you they won't.
Well, you guys, you may be upset with me, but I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you. And let me tell you why. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was wrong because she said the name of Jesus. Okay. That's what set everybody off. Folks, we got to understand the power in the name of Jesus. I've seen it. I've literally seen it. When you mention Jesus, folks, and the Bible talks about it, even the demons shudder, okay? And this is what we saw happen here. These folks can't stand it. They hate when anybody mentions them. And the Bible is explicit. Evil does not coexist comfortably with the name of Jesus, folks. This is what it is. This is all it is. They don't care about separation of church and state. They don't care about going, getting a day off. They hate it when somebody mentions the name of Jesus because they know, even evil knows that at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow in heaven and on earth, under the earth, okay? And under the earth, in hell. They know we've already won, and they know there's power in the name of Jesus for those who are Holy Spirit filled, okay? And so this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. The name of Jesus is not symbolic. It's not mythology like they said. It's authoritative, all right? And so we got to know, like we know, this is what they were mad about. And this is why, folks, we got to keep on saying it. Linda, you said you loud with it. Crystal, we're loud here on Pop and Politics. We're going to continue to shout the name of Jesus. We're going to continue to talk about it on our show in politics and culture and everywhere we can. Because guess what? They tremble at his name. And this is what Christmas is about. It's about the birth of Christ Jesus, the Messiah, the King of Kings. And this is why they get upset. All right. So absolutely. It is what it is.
Well, let's
Merry
see what
Christmas.
That's what. Let's see what super chatters we have. We have Jude. Chef Crystal is cooking tonight with fish grease. Yes. All right. Crystal, Linda, and Blanca. Our chat has been loving you ladies tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jude, for your super chat. D. Blanco, thank you for your $10 super chat. She says, wow, you're from Baltimore, Maryland. My company's there 20 years. God bless you. This is absolutely amazing. I learned a lot about you through Crystal's Bible study. Much love, Merry Christmas, and she has subscribed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Kung Fu CJ, he says, I don't care. We cook it out on Christmas Day. Blue crabs, anyone? Count me in. Count me in. Kung Fu CJ again for your $2 super chat. He's saying KJ, her father is a pastor. She is rooted. I think he's talking about Crystal.
No, she's talking about
Huckabee.
Huckabee, yes.
That's right. Michael Huckabee is her father. That's right. The S-Files, thank you. She has been a member of our Freedom Seekers Club for 5 months. She's saying, Merry Christmas, Pop and Politics family. Thank you all. Merry Christmas in that super chat. I think I got all our mods tonight, but if I didn't, blame it on my head, not my heart.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us again tonight. Very quickly, please shout out your platforms and any events you may have coming up. Please shout them out. I'll start with you, Crystal.
Thank you again so much for having me. I've enjoyed this completely. You ladies are amazing. Your show is amazing. So thank you for having me. Everybody, I'm Crystal Beyond Labels. You can find me here on YouTube, Crystal Beyond Labels. I will be back for everyone come January 5th. I'm going to take a nice needed break. Yeah. I'll be back pushing out lives January 5th, but I have content going out all through Christmas break, pre-recorded. So come check me out over there. And I appreciate you ladies so much. God bless you and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Linda B, please shout out your channel and tell people where they can find you.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am so honored that you had me. And yes, you can find me on YouTube, Chat with me, Linda B. And I do live shows mostly Mondays through Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Chat with me, Linda B. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as Chat with me, Linda B. And on X as Linda B Podcast.
All right. And Blanca, I know you don't have the YouTube, but please tell people what you're doing in Maryland, all that you do here in Baltimore City, please, and tell people how you know a final message.
Sure, you can. Yes, and you can find me definitely on Facebook. You can. Let's become friends there through that platform. So I teach freely. I've done this. This is my 23rd year. I teach English and Spanish freely to anyone who wants to learn. I have taught people from the latest one is a Sri Lanka adult. And so that's what I focus on. I focus on literacy and bilingualism. I think that it will, the economics are amazing. Once you have a skill that can never expire, you don't have to renew it. And, you unlike the car registration of $191.50 in Maryland, you don't have to even have a payment plan. It's totally free, totally free. This is my 23rd year. I teach at least 2 hours a week. And so I've started a class and I have students with me for 1 year, both English and Spanish. And I would like to give a shout out that my son is going to be graduating, and I'm helping him open his own restaurant. And yes, he is a special needs son who has severe food allergies, and he was having a hard time getting hired and kind of like, really bumped down, like, Mom, nobody wants to. And I said, hon, sometimes we need to build that table and just tell people BOYC, bring your own chair. So we are going to knock it out of the park. And so I thank you so much. I am so thankful for meeting Linda, Crystal. And I want to thank everyone who's tuned in, who commented, who liked, who shared, who made a post, because you know what? The connection that we have is beyond the encouragement. The connection is going to carry us through. And so I just want to thank everyone. And I hope that, we need to have a pop and politics party. I mean, celebrate and really make it almost like an Amfest where we just have people from all over the country. I just suggest that maybe in 2026, you could think about it.
That is a good idea, Blanca. And we will. That is something we need to work on. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was just going to close out by saying that this is a platform that I want to use to uplift conservatism, folks. And this is why we have the ladies on here. And I want to continue to do this. We want to uplift and promote conservatives, faith-based, Christians. We want to continue to do that, because when we do it, it grows, the movement grows. And so this is what we want to do here. And I just want to thank you ladies for joining us tonight. We definitely got to do it again. This is something we just started doing on Tuesdays, just bringing everybody on. So we definitely got to do it again in the new year. But thank you all so much. Thank you to our chat and everyone in the chat and please, as you do, don't forget, share this broadcast, share it on your social media, share it in a DM, and please hit that like button, folks, as you come in. If you haven't done so already, that tells YouTube to share this broadcast. I think Shelly has something else to say here.
One more super chatter here. Jay Nito, thank you for your $10 super chat. And Jay says, white, Black, and Latino Americans must stand together to save Western civilization, which is objectively the best society the world has ever known. Please, let's forget our differences and come together. And I want to give a special shout out to Tiggy Cam in our chat. Let me say this to you, Tiggy. In the spirit of Christmas, We know that you come here because you absolutely love us. You love to hear us. You love watching us. You love what we say. You just pretend that you don't. So you think all of your little digs are really hurting us? No, we laugh at them. We literally just, glide on by. But keep on coming back. And next time you come, drop in some donations. We would love it. We would love to use your money to keep spreading our channel. Merry Christmas, Tiggy.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You said, is it Tiggy or Titty? Because it sounds like he's on his mother's titty.
Here we go. We
Linda, you don't know. You don't know, do you?
Oh my God.
Sometimes I got to put the Christian to the side.
Just a little bit.
Just every now and again. Just every now and then.
Just a little bit, but he's right. As Americans, we really do need to come together to save our great nation. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like America anywhere on the globe, where we are blessed by the hand of God. And we have so much to be thankful for, so much, so many resources. We have so many resources. When people steal almost 20 billion from us, we like, oh, dang. This nation has so much going for it. The one thing that can stop us is us. So we have to find a way to come together, and being unapologetically American is the way to do that. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. You don't have to apologize for being white. You don't have to apologize for being black. But what you should do is get you one of these shirts. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you why. Starting January 1, 2026, this nation is going to start celebrating its 250th birthday. And you need to know there's just about a party every single day in this nation. It is going to be epic. So I'm all in if Poppin' Politics is going to do a gigantic cookout and invite everybody, even our fans from New Zealand. Fly on in. Come on over. Come on over. You stay at KJ's house, right? Fly on in. Fly on in and party with us. Everybody is having a party to celebrate this great nation. It's going to be a wonderful time to kind of renew our Americanism. So get your shirt so that you can stand out in the crowd. This shirt, I know they showed you the back, has a fist, it has a flag, it has a heart. It speaks to the nature of this nation. I can't wait to wear mine outside because I've only worn it inside the house because it's about 25 degrees here. Mm-hmm. In Southern Maryland. But as soon as the sun come up, I'm going to be outside in my stuff with some shorts on, doing the damn thing for America. 250 years. Get your t-shirt so you too can be out and having a good time with your shirt on.
That's right. We have one more super chatter that came in. And Nicole has a new charge. I'm going to ask Nicole that next year you have to give us a countdown to 250. So Nicole, put that on your agenda. We have one more super chatter here. Jessica, Merry Christmas, Jessica. You and Mackenzie. Thank you for your $2 super chat. She says, I love you, Linda. Keep dishing it out, girly. Yes, we have to have Linda, Crystal, and Blanca back. The chat absolutely loved you, ladies.
All right. And last but certainly not least, folks, we have other channels on this platform. So we are Metro Conservative Media, and we also have Just the Guys. Just the Guys podcast is right here. That's our brother station. So please check them out at Just the Guys podcast. They provide you a conservative perspective on the communism, and they're talking about how that is infiltrating the United States, and it's an all guys format. So great to check them out. That is at Just the Guys podcast. They're Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. live every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. And they also ask people to come up and join them. So it's a great way to do that. Also, you can check me out on my second channel is KJ Christian Conservative. Pastor Damon is always on there with me and Michelle. And so we provide you a Christian conservative take on news and pop culture. So I got to get you ladies to come on there. But yeah, it's a great channel. We're talking about all the latest, but we give you a biblical perspective on these issues. So definitely check me out. That's at KJ Christian Conservative. We have a live show every Thursday and Sunday. We just had one on Sunday, which was really good. Pastor Damon was on fire as usual.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was on fire. You got to check him out. So yes, indeed, folks. All right, so that does it for us tonight. Again, we want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And as I always say, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.